Thank you, Asa, and thank you, everyone. I wanted to reiterate that for Dr. John Stadler for allowing me to be here, for Wolfpack Pictures and everyone to put this event on, and also for you all for joining us on such a rainy, cloudy day, overcast. I see a few familiar faces. Wonderful. I have the pleasure to introduce to you this film, which is right behind me in Playtime. And it is one of my favorite films, both as a comedy masterpiece and what I would describe as a deliciously peculiar viewing experience. And in my opinion, Playtime is a pure cinematic excellence. It is directed by French filmmaker Jacques Tati, and I have to admit that I practiced my French pronunciation for a long time before today. I'm not quite there, but I'm trying. The film follows the footsteps of an iconic character, Monsieur Hulot, pictured here, right behind me. It's a little bit hard to see with the lights on right now, but this iconic character is characterized by his familiar soft hat, his gray coat, his umbrella, a long-stemmed pipe, two short pants, and some striped socks. This particular character is played by Tati himself, which is kind of interesting, and his fourth reprisal of the role. And the character tends to kind of wander in and out of the frames throughout the viewing experience in a way that almost seems to beg the camera to follow along. And so he is a very recognizable figure and presents a very mime-like performance that parallels Tati's own experience in his early origins as a pantomime and mime himself, in a way to express a kind of personality type rather than a fully fleshed out or main character. Devoid of a plot, then, this film follows Hulot and other characters as they drift haphazardly through a very stylized and ultra-modern version of Paris, where Hulot in particular becomes rather perplexed by this built environment. The film follows a carefully choreographed cascade of incidents where spaces, people, objects, and technology begin to compete and vie for attention. After failing to meet with a business contact, Monsieur Hulot becomes lost and begins a roundabout journey through the urban environment. Along the way, Hulot meets acquaintances and develops interest with a passing American tourist played by Barbara Dedek. This entire thing is filmed in an enormous, specially constructed set outside of Paris, which became known as Tativille. Playtime was the most expensive French film of its time. The estimates are upwards in the millions, and the Criterion Collection does a nice job of having a preface where it shows that this, in many ways, bankrupted Tati in order to even produce. So it's a rather fascinating detail. An astounding and financially draining endeavor, Tati aptly describes the set as the star of this film, rather than Hulot, even though that might have been different in previous features. Within this grand cinemascape, Tati plays with expectations, revels in the mundane, and invites a sense of whimsy into every single context. From beginning to end, the film abounds in visual and oral gags, and the comedy works through the use of careful observation as spaces shape and in turn are shaped by human experience and interactions. Shot in stunning detail in the original format of 70 millimeter, with exclusive medium to long takes and no close-ups, the film encourages viewers to continually explore the screen space that's in front of you and to become observers in your own right. As your gaze wanders across the detailed environment, much like Hulot, you begin to notice layers upon layers of detail and meaning in the composition. And this one, I think, is one example, a screenshot from this moment where you see this kind of beautiful outlay in front of you as you begin to move through the movement, the sound, the gags that are going to be addressed throughout the entire scene. Many critics agree one viewing is not enough. Perhaps seeing the film is only a preparation for seeing it again, and I think this is very true for my own experiences. So I'm happy that we were able to see it here on a big screen and kind of its context it was meant to be viewed. I'm not sure a laptop screen quite does its justice. But I'll let you decide in this respect. I think film critic Jonathan Rosenbaum captures the gist of the film the best when he says that Playtime directs us to look around at the world we live in, then at each other, and to see how funny that relationship is and how many brilliant possibilities we still have in a world that perpetually suggests otherwise. As I think about the theme of space in relation to the series of screenings, I cannot help but think about the recent reconfiguring of space during the pandemic. From 6-foot rules to limited occupancy requirements, although necessary precautions, the spaces around us seem to change in an instant. Suddenly, space begins to matter with all of its attendant kind of psychological and emotional baggage that comes with it. I think, and perhaps, Playtime offers us an alternative or reprieve to these moments when space becomes challenging. Like Hulot, we may wander through peculiar spaces that perplex and confuse us, yet there is always whimsical possibilities built into even the most challenging moments. If I had to sum up my thoughts of this film, I think Playtime is a celebration of space and a vivid reimagining of its possibilities. So, without further ado, I would like to start the showing, and thank you all for being here.